right.
I look good right there. What up, y'all? Welcome to episode number 1. This is Relationships. My name is Lance Woods, accompanied by.
AK Thrower. And, we're here to talk about the state of relationships. And Lance, man, tell them who
Yeah.
you are and what
So
it's
look,
about.
all right. So man, look, I'm a, you know what I mean. What do we want to start? Stand-up comedian, actor, international sex symbol. Clearly, you know what I mean. So yeah, so y'all gonna hear my point of view from my perspective, the things I see at home, the things I see on the road, the things I see online, everything I see. Now that's my perspective. You're gonna get his perspective coming from a married man, a pastor. What else you got for him?
Ex-pro athlete,
Ex-pro athlete,
father,
a father,
grandfather.
see, I'll be pulling out.
Yeah.
Father, grandfather, all of that. So you're gonna get two different perspectives, two different point of views, but it's gonna be about relationships, the state of relationships, the good, the bad, the ugly, the truth. That's why we're calling it real relationships. So thank y'all for tuning in, and we're gonna have a good time, man. We're gonna have a great time.
So, Lance, as a single man who I guess is consider yourself available. I've been knowing you. I've been knowing you for some years now.
That's a crazy way to frame the question.
I don't know if I've ever considered you to be, available. I've seen you with lots of relationships, but none of them have ever come to fruition in terms of a lasting, monogamous marriage relationship. But in your opinion, from the point of being a single man, what do you see in the state of relationships today?
That's loaded. Okay. So the state of relationships today, I think they all over the place right now. It feel like the state of relationships right now is it's like the wild wild west right now. That's what it looks like. I do have this belief. My belief is a relationship is whatever two people or more people, but let's just say two people agree to. That's the relationship. That's regardless of what your family think. That's regardless of what religious beliefs that somebody else might have. Whatever you two people agree to, that's the relationship. Now, the problem is I see a lot of people who don't know what they believe.
Right.
And but if you don't know what you believe, you can be influenced into doing anything. So that's what I see. When I see relationships right now, I see a lot of people being influenced to just do things that because they like, let me try this, let me try this. Okay, then I'll try this because they've tried things different ways and it haven't worked out in the way that I guess they wanted to work out. They ain't got the results they want. So they say, oh, I'll go try this. See, my thought is like this: you gotta have your beliefs and you gotta stand on your beliefs. You have to be loyal to your beliefs more than more than the person. Because if you line up with your beliefs, then you're gonna get the results that you want based on your belief system. But if you don't have a belief system and you just go, okay, I'm gonna be loyal to this person, but now you're lining up with whatever beliefs they got, whatever
Right.
thinking they got, whatever traditions they got. And then when you done with that person done with you. Now you go to another person. Now you gotta try to line up with the things that they believe and the things that they say. That's how you know it's real. Cause phone calls happen in real life. You ain't got a phone?
All right. I do agree with you in context. My in my experience, being married 42 years, being an ex-pro baseball player, traveling, being around, being married at a young age, being around a lot of women.
How old was you when you got married?
21. Yeah, 21. So I've been married 42 years. I'm 63 years old right now. Having three daughters, having a son, watching how dudes navigate with my daughters and so on and so forth. Being a pastor, marrying lots of young couples, seeing how they're doing the relationship dynamic and what will and won't work. I do agree with you that people have to have belief systems, but beliefs are based on principles. And in my experience, not all principles work to create a successful relationship. You may believe that it's okay, to live with somebody but have another woman on the side. Or and the person you with may believe that, and they might believe, oh, we can live together, but we gonna have another man on the side. I don't care if you do agree with it. In my experience, that does not work on the long run. It's gonna be some issues that arise from the whole dynamic of not understanding the covenant aspect of a relationship. Covenant means that we have an agreement to operate along these guidelines in the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of the state of relationships today, I mean, you can just look around because one thing, relationships are the foundation of our society. Without strong relationships, everything falls apart. And we see it happening in our world today. We see the family falling apart. We see marriages fall apart. We see our children, struggling because, some of the statistics on mental health issues, suicide, imprisonment, all deal with the breakdown of the relationship dynamic of the marriage and the family. I believe it's 80% of African American males that are incarcerated didn't have a father in the home. I believe almost that same percentage is true when you talk to people when you're talking about mental health issues and suicide. Uh, so I think this topic is one that is not only relevant, it is vitally important to the health and the success
Mm-hmm.
of society, of community, church, whatever you're talking about. Relationships are dynamic and they're under assault. And I feel like that one of the biggest issues of relationship, for example, the example I could give you is I'm sitting here at this table and my coffee cup is here, my phone is here, I got a cup of water here, you're here. So we are in relationship to one another. You're to my right. The coffee cup is a little in front of me to my right. My water bottle is to my left because relationships deal with position,
Mm-hmm. So you say I
positional.
got one woman to my right, one woman
Well,
right
yeah,
here,
for you, yeah,
one woman.
that is how I've seen you operate. Yeah,
So
positionally,
let me,
right?
let me ask you this question because you're talking about okay, you got one woman, or y'all agree, you know what I mean? If that's y'all's agreement, we can live together, but I got this one on the side, this one on the side here. In my industry, I'm in show business. I know I got a bunch of friends who are in open relationships.
Okay,
Like that, like I personally know. I know the husband and the wife, and they are open about their open marriages.
okay.
Um, of course I know you don't agree with it, obviously. What do you feel about that? As far as what spirit do you see attached to that?
Well, it's difficult to develop some of the core foundational aspects of relationship in that kind of dynamic, like trust, like
They'll tell you that they are in an open relationship because they trust each other so much.
yeah, I know people always come up with a lot of what I call just bamboozlery to kind of justify what they're doing. But I would ask whether or not, if you look down the road, whether or not that relationship was successful, whether or not it lasted. I'm sure there are some people who have agreed to be in open relationships
Mm-hmm.
that people can look at maybe 15, 20 years later and they're still together. But I would even say with those, at some point, the relationship did not remain open. They probably got, once they got my age, they probably decided, you know what, this open relationship thing don't work. Not only when you talk about the impact it has on children,
Mm-hmm.
so if you in an open relationship and you got a 3-year-old daughter, and now your daughter is at home with her daddy, and all of a sudden you pack her up in the car, and then you going across town to be with your open relationship partner. What kind of impact is that on there? Even the health issues.
Mm-hmm.
You know, STDs. Emotional health, mental health, physical health, spiritual health. So for me, there are relationship principles that work.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do we all keep them perfectly? No, we don't. I've been married 42 years and I haven't kept them perfectly, but it's my standard.
Yeah.
It's what I am striving to do.
Yeah, I actually I had this girl ask me about that. She said, "I know what you do, and I don't want to put that kind of pressure on you. So why don't we just be in an open relationship?" But I had to explain to her like, no matter what you believe about me, I have these principles that I try to live by. So if I'm gonna be with you, I'm gonna be with you, and I'm gonna cheat like a real nigga. I'm not finna be in an open relationship. I'm, I'm gonna cheat like I'm supposed to. Open, you don't get to do what I do. What? Wait, time out. There's no open relationship. We together. I cheat and everybody's happy.
I mean, like if you lying all the time about, where you going, what you doing, who you're around, or if you cheating all the time. I think there's a difference between somebody who cheated and somebody who is a habitual, you a habitual cheater. You just, you know, there's a difference in that. Just like
Yeah.
there's a difference between sinning and being a sinner.
I tell my boys this sometimes, who I know who are in situations. I say you should never cheat because you're not gonna be able to stop. It's very hard to stop doing that if you don't get caught because you're gonna see how easy it is and you're going to see how much you can do it. And it's not, if you haven't done it, just don't. Just stay, go home. Just go home.
Yeah.
Because if you get too comfortable in anything, it's just hard. It's just like working out. Like once you stop working out, it's hard to get back to working out. But when you working, it's easy. If you already
Yeah.
just going home to your family, go home.
Right.
Go home,
Yeah,
man.
and getting back to the question, the state of relationships. This is the introductory podcast, and one of the things I really see is that the relationships aren't working. For especially, I see not only in marriages. I mean, over 60% of all marriages end in divorce, and I think because of that, a lot of times, even with single people, they don't even want to enter into a relationship with the prospect of being married.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you enter into a relationship in the prospect of, I'm just gonna hang with this person as long as I feel comfortable hanging with them, and then when I don't, it's over. Especially if you're hanging with them and then you have children coming to the dynamic,
Mm-hmm.
it isn't a dynamic that's going to be healthy. But in my opinion, with single people, man, I just look at all the women out there that are uh, beautiful women. There's a lot of them are successful financially. A lot of them work. A lot of them are raising children on their own, and no men. And no men because sometimes it's a choice they make that they don't feel like any of the men available to them are relationship or marriage uh, prospects.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think on the other hand, I think a lot of the men are not really positioning themselves to really take upon themselves the sacrifice. I think it's a bigger sacrifice for a man to say, I'm going to be in a monogamous relationship than it is for a woman. I think most women in general are ready to be in a monogamous relationship, whereas I think men, because there are more eligible women than men. Matter
Right.
of fact, I even think the birth rate, there are more women born than men.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, with the incarceration rate, especially among black Americans, with a lot of men now practicing homosexuality.
They're not practicing. They perfecting it.
Yeah, they perfecting, yeah.
They
So it
getting
leads
good.
a lot of women to where they may want to be in a relationship, but it's not possible or it's not working in a way that is conducive for them developing a relationship and being in a healthy one with their families, their children, being in a relationship where they're working together with a male. Then you couple with that this dynamic to where I think there's a lot of confusion with men and women about what is my position
Mm-hmm.
and role. And when I'm talking about role, I'm not talking about old man should never wash dishes or cook dinner. I think I'm a better cook than my wife is.
You
And
heard
I'm
that?
yeah, yeah, she probably talk about it when I get home. But I will say this. I do think there are certain dynamics spiritually and emotionally. I think emotionally, if a man is just as emotional as a woman, and you're
Mm-hmm.
trying to be in a relationship, it ain't gonna work.
Mm-hmm.
I think women are naturally. Now I know a lot of women. Well, I'm not. Women don't have to always be emotional. No, they don't. But I think in general, women are more emotional and operate more on emotional and also on a relational level than men.
Mm-hmm.
So I think because of all this confusion, these gender roles that are being portrayed in society, that in almost the emasculation of masculinity in our society is almost sometimes I feel like people feel like it's a crime to be masculine.
Well, they come up with terms like toxic masculinity.
Well, there's
So
toxic femininity too.
yeah, but nobody tells you what toxic masculinity is.
Well, I can tell you, I think what they're talking about is a man who thinks that a woman is beneath him, that a woman's role is to only do certain things, that a man will physically handle a woman. That's toxic. I agree with that. That's toxic masculinity. I say this all the time. I've been married 42 years. I never told my wife I'm a man.
Yeah.
I'm a man. I'm a man. That's toxic masculinity to me.
Okay.
Yeah, because that means you're trying to make her regard you as a man or a leader. I have a very strong willed wife. You know my wife.
Mm-hmm.
Amen. Uh, so I've never asked my wife to lead. I'm a
Never,
lead.
never asked your wife to
To
let you lead.
lead or to let me lead.
Okay. Yeah.
I ain't never asked my wife to lead
So you said that one
or to
time
let me lead.
years ago. I remember in a sermon you said a man don't ask you to lead. A man doesn't ask your permission to lead. He just leads, and either you gonna follow or you gonna leave.
Right,
Yeah, that stuck with me a long
right,
time ago. Just
exactly.
leaders just lead.
Right,
You don't worry about who following you.
right. Your boy Chappelle, one of his shows, I heard him say gender matters.
Oh yeah,
Gender does matter.
yeah,
I know the world can say what they want to say, that so and so is deciding to identify as a female and you're a male. You can say that if you want. That's your choice. But there is a difference between the physiological, psychological, emotional, and spiritual dynamic that exists between men and women.
so you could put a dress on, but they still gonna check your prostate.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Right. And
a doctor coming with
yeah,
that glove,
yeah,
miss.
and a man can put a dress on, but he still ain't gonna be able to have no baby.
Yeah,
Plain and simple.
yeah. So these are things that you said that they say you're not supposed to say.
Well, then they'll say a transgender man can. Well, that's not a man. That's a woman.
Yeah. So it's yeah,
Either way you look at it.
yeah.
And I'm not mad at you if that's how you're choosing to live, but I'm not gonna live in a state of delusion and act like I'm trying to tell you this ain't no coffee cup. It got coffee in it. Man, this ain't no coffee cup, man. This is a bank vault. It's a bank vault. This ain't no coffee. No, it's not. It's a coffee cup.
So it's the same as like, cause you go to somebody's house and they keep their change in there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can
Yeah,
put all your matter of fact, don't put change in it, put your paycheck in it.
yeah.
And see if it's a bank vault. Yeah, but see all this stuff, and see this is where I have to look at things from a spiritual perspective. This is an assault. And a lot of people may not believe in the devil. I don't care if you think he's a person with red horns and the tail, or you think he's just a spirit, whatever you think. But this is what he operates in from the beginning. I need to break down the relationship dynamic between the most basic relationship core, which is the man and the woman.
Hmm.
Everything else is built upon that dynamic of the
Hmm.
man and the woman.
So when you see the state of relationship, you see it right now as something that's very divisive.
I see it as something that's very divisive, and I see it as in great peril. Great peril, man. It's
Okay.
it's it's, it's sad, and it's not only affecting the male and female relationship. It's the foundation of our society, so it's affecting all relationships between blacks and whites, relationships. Because listen, if you can't get along with somebody in your own house, How you gonna get along with somebody outside your house?
Yeah. You know, I be thinking sometimes that's the only thing that be keeping people together racially is that people like to have sex with
In a
everybody they
relationship,
see. Yeah,
right?
and so it's like I can't fully hate these people
Yeah,
because
because I'm having sex with a white person.
you know what I mean. And I
Yeah,
or and then you know, so you might have a family who believes things traditionally, but now they have this mixed race grandchild.
they got to deal with it.
They got to deal with it. They looking at the baby. They love the baby.
Now, let me ask you something. Let's say if that mixed race couple, all of a sudden, their relationship goes south, and then when relationships go south, all kind of ugly things come
Mm-hmm.
out. Ugly ideologies,
Mm-hmm.
behaviors, words,
Mm-hmm.
and then let's say between that black and white couple, you start dealing with, hate between them,
Mm-hmm.
and then it spills over into not only gender but race.
Mm-hmm.
So how is that child now affected? Why? Because of that basic relationship.
Yeah. And then the child is usually going to side with whichever parents they're closest with.
Right.
And they,
Or they're gonna be confused. Because what I find with most children, they love both their parents.
yeah,
Even if one of them may be messed up, they
yeah,
still love them.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It'd be interesting. Like when I talk to people, I, I've met so many women in my life who have strange relationships with their mother, regardless of what. I've dealt with women who don't know their father, who
Right.
don't have ill will towards their father that they don't know, but they have this weird relationship with their mother who raised them. And a lot of women, just in this generation, I'm talking about from 25 to 40, feel like a jealousy from their mom. Um, I don't know, and maybe that's
So when
been
you say jealousy in regards to what? To their opportunities or their
yeah. They
success?
just feel
I
like
could see that.
they just feel like
Because a lot of women in that age group are much more economically enabled, educationally enabled, they're much more able if they choose to uh, take care of themselves. Whereas I feel like an older generation wasn't quite that advanced. I think some people my age, some women my age, are like that. They handle their own business. They're professionals. They're career women. But I think these women now. I mean, look at the stats. They say 7 out of 10 graduates, black graduates from medical school, are women.
mhm,
Well, I was at a wedding the other night. One of the sisters was a doctor.
mhm,
My cousin's wife, she's the doctor, a dentist, or
orthodontist.
orthodontist, right? And the other girl I met the other night, she's the doctor, she's the dentist. She said, "Wow, you don't find that many women or black orthodontists." But Ryan Thrower is an orthodontist. So I just think I could see that to some extent. But I think this is what I say about that whole dynamic, because we have a generation of young people who've been raised primarily by women.
Mhm,
And this is what I see in that dynamic. Women enable their sons, most, not all.
mhm.
And that's one of the things I want to clarify. I think one of the biggest issues in our society today is extremism
Yes.
and stereotypes.
Mhm,
All black people ain't the same, neither are all white people.
mhm,
All women ain't the same, and neither are all men.
mhm.
But I will say this: in general, I believe that most women enable their sons and empower their daughters. I believe most women are stricter, harder, push their daughters more, and they coddle their sons.
Are you talking about single moms or just
Single
mothers in
moms.
general?
Well, I could say mothers in general. Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
They'll push their daughters. They'll sometimes even to the point of where I've heard many women feel like they were just not abused, but were made to be pushed so hard by their mothers in mistakes magnified, or just general humanity issues magnified.
Hmm.
Whereas you see a lot of men, and I believe that's why a lot of men are okay with living off of a woman, because you were coddled by your mother. So in your mind, you think a woman's supposed to take care of you.
Yeah.
And see, excuse my, I'll use the word I always use when I want to say a cuss word, and I can't because I'm a pastor. That's donkey backwards. That's donkey backwards, man. As a man, you ain't supposed to be looking to no woman to take care of you, so that when she get mad at you, now you ain't got nowhere to stay.
Yeah,
That's how a lot of these dudes is,
yeah.
man.
You know what? Like when a switch flip, and it's like it got to the point to where it's like I don't really want a woman doing much for me. Like, nah. It don't like I like, oh, you can give me a gift, you want to cook or something, but like if I'm at a point to where I don't know how I'm gonna pay my rent, or I don't know where I'm gonna stay, and she's the option, then I need to do an entire
Inventory.
inventory on my life and how things
Sure
is
do.
going right now. If this is the best option.
Well, let's look at the two dynamics. As a man, I enjoy taking care of my wife,
Mm-hmm.
and I enjoy her having whatever finances she has to spend on her.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's flip the switch, because I have a daughter that's a co-star on Law and Order, and she make a lot of money,
Mm-hmm.
and she's single, and she's telling me that the dating field. She's 40 years old. The dating field out there with her and men is strange.
Yeah.
She said a lot of these men they insecure. A lot of these men, but see, let's flip the switch with me. This is how I would be.
Okay.
Let's say my wife
Mm-hmm.
was making $1 million a year,
Mm-hmm.
and I was doing what I did.
Mm-hmm.
What I would do as a man, I wouldn't be looking for her. I would just let her know, well, you don't need my money.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm good.
Yeah. I don't need your money. You don't need my money.
Yeah, so let me just, work on what I'm doing. I mean, I'm comfortable.
Yeah.
I could buy what I want to buy. I could travel. I don't need you,
Mm-hmm.
to be footing the bill every time we go to dinner. I don't
Yeah.
need you to pay for the hotel. I can do that.
Yeah.
If you want to do it because you got the money, you could do it too.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think that dynamic has to be one that even if your woman is making more money, you have to exude a dynamic to where you're going to be the protector. That's what I look at with my daughter. I don't want no man taking advantage of my daughter.
Yeah.
If I see a man that looks at my daughter and say, "Wow, you make a lot of money, I should move in with you," the first thing I tell her is, "He ain't the one."
Yeah.
Because any man that's interested in you is not going to put you in a position to where he's heaping responsibility on you.
Mm-hmm. So when you talk about a man and you say protector, provider, people only think protector as physical,
Right.
but protector is emotional,
Financial.
financial. Protector is, um, baby, don't say that.
Right.
That's protector. No, don't answer
Right.
that. No, don't, because I know what this phone call is going to do.
Right.
And then when you hang up with them, now I'm gonna have to deal with this because you're gonna be in the house.
Well, it's like this. Let's say you got a daughter and you're a father and you get in a big argument with your daughter,
Mm-hmm.
and it gets ugly. And all of a sudden her boyfriend come over and he gonna jump on the same emotional wagon train as his daughter and think he gonna pump his chest out towards her dad
Mm-hmm.
instead of telling his girl and the dad's daughter, "Hey, baby, calm down. We'll deal with this." See,
Yeah.
that's what I mean. What you're talking about him being an emotional protector.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, you feeding into the
Mm-hmm.
the emotional dysfunction
Yeah.
instead of being a voice of reason
Yeah.
and understanding. See, that's important. It ain't always how much money you make that makes you a leader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of men got a manhood. They got their manhood from hip hop
Yeah.
and movies. So their manhood is all in a physical, in a bravado.
Right.
It's like de-escalation is a form of manhood. You got to see a problem coming. A man got to be a visionary.
Right.
Oh, I can see where this is going.
Well, that's a whole nother topic, man. Because most of these dudes now, that's why a lot of women get tired of dudes, because they, oh, he's cute, he got a good heart, but cute and a good heart don't mean he has a vision.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean he has a plan. And what I know about a woman, if a woman doesn't have someone that she can look at that has a vision or a plan, she will get busy
Mm-hmm.
doing what she thinks needs to be done. And sometimes, depending on who the woman is, it could be okay, or sometimes it might be whack.
Yeah.
But when men don't provide vision or strategy for their families, like you've been married 5 years and you have no strategy to buy a home,
Yeah.
you have no strategy to quit your day job and start a business, or that maybe both, because I just believe that. I watched you as a young man, and now I see you as a successful comic, nationally known,
Hey,
and international sex symbol, as you
you know
say.
what I mean? You know what I mean? Talk. We're here to tell the truth, baby. This is real relationships, man. You gotta tell the real, baby. You see it, baby.
Yeah, but
But
you
yeah,
you didn't settle. You didn't settle for just, okay, I'm just gonna have a normalized life and do what everybody else do.
yeah.
And
But
to me, that's what a man needs. That's why I think women are attracted to you, but you're not really ready for no hot shit. You ain't ready. Yeah. And that's all good. It'd be better to be clear about that than to just, because that's another thing I believe in about protecting a woman. Don't take advantage of women when you know you can.
yeah,
See, because a lot of women can be taken advantage of.
yeah. Most women can be taken advantage of. No, this is the truth. Most women can be taken advantage of, but I mean, the tough part is to not do it because so as humans, we can always what's the word, justify anything in our own heads. So you like, I'm not taking advantage of her. I'm helping her out. She needed help with this. I did that for her. She needed that. I did that for her. She's lonely. I'm doing that. But you also know that she thinks this is leading to something that you don't necessarily see.
Right,
But at the same time, I don't see it now, but I could later.
right.
Every woman I deal with, I give them an exit plan. Like, you don't have to be here. But then they don't go. But this is the problem. This is the problem. They don't go. And I'm like, okay, okay, so you here. All right, cool. This is what it is. And they think that I'm going to change my mind tomorrow or the next day. It's like, no, I told you this. Like, I told you this. And I'm not saying it's like impossible. Like, yeah, we maybe one day that those things can happen, but that's not going to be today.
Yeah.
And
Women love men. Women love men with a vision. When women, I mean, when you look at some of the guys that are successful in business or in entertainment and really look at them physically, sometimes you wonder how they could even be with
yeah,
a chick that's maybe a 5, but they got a 10. Because women are attracted to leadership. They're
mm-hmm.
attracted to a person with a vision.
Yeah,
They're attracted to drive.
mm-hmm.
Because, like I said, if they have a husband or a boyfriend that doesn't have that, they will start operating in that position,
Yeah,
and it becomes too much of a burden for them. That's why a lot of them get frustrated, and they all angry and overburdened and snapping all the time because you're suffering her to bear more than what she should, because it's really what you should be doing. So
mm-hmm.
that happens all the time in a lot of these relationships that I see.
Yeah,
And it's sad. I mean, it's sad on both ends. It's sad for the woman and for the man. Another dynamic with women that I see is that not only do they need a visionary, and that they will try to operate in that role if the man isn't doing it. Another thing that I see with a lot of women, and I can even biblically, I'm going to get into the Bible, but the whole dynamic with Adam and Eve is that a lot of times women feel like they can make a man become what they think he should be. And this is my experience. A good woman can have a no good man, and a no good man will change a good woman before a good woman changes a no good man.
yeah. So
Because
she'll
that's just the dynamic of the male female
he'll
relationship.
make her bad before she makes him
Before
good.
she make him good.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah. She'll become trifling. She'll leave church for him. She'll
mm-hmm.
you know you know. I mean, I've even seen women leave their kids for a dude.
I've seen it too. I know a few women who left the state, left the city. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
So all this mindset, oh, he's a good guy, he's cute, he's got a good heart, and I think I can change. No, don't think that. No.
so this because you were talking earlier about gender. and gender roles. You gotta be. I want to word this properly because we're talking about protecting and providing, right? What do you feel like, just in general? What is the role of a woman in a relationship?
To be a teammate, to help support a man if he has a vision. And I think that's the role of the man also. Let's say a woman's a doctor
Mm-hmm.
and she's working 10-hour days, and I believe the role of the man is also to help support the vision. But I believe biblically the Bible says the woman was given to the man as a helpmeet. And a lot of people may say, well, that's a pretty low position, but it's also the same type of word God uses for the Holy Spirit, the helper,
Mm-hmm.
to come alongside of, to be partner. Eve, according to the scriptures, taken out of Adam's side. So I believe, I just feel like if women approach their men with a spirit of, hey, let's, and I believe a lot of women want to do this. I think sometimes men struggle with this, is the teammate factor.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of men, sometimes I'm so driven and so assertive in my pursuit of success that sometimes I won't include my wife,
Hmm.
and it bothers her.
Yeah.
So, but I do think there are a lot of women that have this spirit on them. I ain't gonna listen to no man.
Yeah.
Man can't tell me nothing. Well, why you want a man?
Yeah.
If you don't listen, submission goes both ways. I submit to my wife all the time. I got turned in my player card 42 years ago. Yeah, I kept it laminated, but I couldn't carry the wallet no more.
But I can't flash it all the time.
Yeah.
I still got it. It's just in the box.
Right. So I submit to her. But a lot of women have a big issue with this issue of submission. It's like, well, what's wrong? You submit to everybody else. You go to your job and your boss asks you to work late and you do it.
Mm-hmm.
You submit to your girlfriends. You don't feel like going to the mall, but you go.
They always feel like going to the mall.
You really submit to your kids.
Yeah.
That's why I can't stand kids. No, I'm playing. I'm playing. No, they get way more love than the daddy get in respect.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean
Yeah.
that
Most
that
women respect their 2-year-old son more than they do their 30-year-old daddy or husband.
yeah. That's a whole episode
Yeah.
with how people, treat their kids. We talked about it a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. But see that whole dynamic of coming alongside, taking the low road, you know, learning learning that we're a partner. Here's a big one. I also think, and it's not all women, but I do think it's some. You in competition with your man. Don't compete with your man. Even in a disagreement,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to have the last word.
Mm-hmm.
Hush.
Yeah. But that goes once again to protecting,
Yeah.
right? So like every woman I've ever dealt with, they always say you too nonchalant. It's like you don't even care, and it ain't that I don't care as much as it's like I don't care about what you're talking about right now in the grand scheme of it, because I know
Right.
I
It don't.
know that this is kind of irrelevant.
Right. It's
So
not the real issue.
it's not the real issue. It's
Yeah, the real issue is you don't want to say it, but the real issue is you want me to be something that I'm not willing or being.
yeah. if that's the argument, but if there's I'm talking about, it could be a smaller discussion. It could be something very small, and sometimes and I don't even think this is a woman thing. I just think people in general have an issue with making small things into big things,
I
and
agree.
I'm not like that. So
Right.
so sometimes
It's
it
called
might,
life. Right.
yeah. So sometimes it might even be a big thing, but I don't.
Yeah, I'm not gonna magnify
I'm
it.
not gonna
Right.
magnify it. So when you tripping and I'm just chilling, now you feel like, oh, you don't even care. You're not. It's like, nah. Let's figure it out. I'm.
But see, to me, that's where leadership comes in. Because see, if you bite on that, then you'll be all stuck up emotionally and frantic and because now you done bit. But see, if you're a leader, this is what men don't realize. It's not easy leading. Quit expecting to be in a relationship with a woman and that everything needs to be easy. It's not gonna be easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, leading is not easy. You sometimes you got to be the bad guy. Sometimes you got to set a precedent because you just know it's the right thing to do.
Now let me ask you this: is it fun? Not fun. That ain't the. Give me the pros and cons. Being married for 42 years, pastoring for 27 years. 27.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Three children, four children, bunch of grandkids. So being looked at to lead a lot of people in a lot of different ways. What are your pros and cons to being a leader from a male perspective, from a man perspective?
Well, I'll just be honest with you. I can sum that up in two words. The cons are people. That people have their own ways of thinking about things and doing things. In my experience, I my leadership style is this is what I believe, this is what I'm gonna do, but I'm not gonna force you to do it. But there will be repercussions and consequences if you don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't think you're not gonna do it and everything's still gonna be cool. I don't do that. I don't do that with nobody.
Mm-hmm.
So if you position yourself with me in a certain way, that's how I'm gonna deal with you.
Yeah.
I'm not living in delusion.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna act like we cool and we ain't,
Mm-hmm.
or we in agreement and we not.
Mm-hmm.
Now, does it mean I ain't gonna love you? No, it don't mean that. But it's gonna mean exactly what it is. We ain't in agreement.
Yeah.
So until we can get an agreement, we can't really walk together.
Yeah.
So don't expect me to be a part and support and encourage and do everything you want me to do like we was really cool. See, that's delusion to me. And that's how the world operates in a state of delusion.
Yeah.
They expect us to accept you. Oh, you're just supposed to go along and accept everything, regardless, and act like so. So that's the hardest part. Is just people in general don't want to be led or followed. And the thing that gets me is, people don't want to follow Christ. People don't want to follow God. So I don't get all pushed out of shape about it. But the benefit is, for me, is to see people have success.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to be honest, that's the biggest benefit. Now, with those two dynamics in play, I become the beneficiary of being blessed.
Mm-hmm.
Because one, I'm not walking down the wrong path because I want to follow you or be accepted by you simply because you want to do whatever you want to do and I don't agree with. So the second thing is when I see people have success, it also is a benefit
Makes
to
you
my
want
life.
makes you want to keep going.
Right.
So I want to clarify this or get clarity on this because you say people in general don't want to follow, right? But you're talking about don't want to follow in a real way.
Well, I'll say this. Let me clarify this because I truly believe this, and I'll say this as a pastor. In general, most people are followers.
Okay.
I will say this. And that's why a lot of even religious leaders have taken advantage of that. And they bamboozle and hoodwink people, lie to them, and
Yeah.
tell them things that aren't even biblical and not of God. So that's why I think even in the world today, you see the secular influence on people
Mm-hmm.
and how people just follow trends and fads and with the
Yeah.
latest thing people are doing, and so I think. But I'll say this: but when it comes to godly principles, most people don't want to follow
Okay.
because it's contrary to them. It doesn't make sense when you tell me to forgive somebody that did me wrong.
Yeah.
That's just a simple word. In Bible's full of these analogies, but it doesn't make sense that if I want to be the greatest, I should become the servant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Serving people, serving God first, but then serving people. You will never understand all of the benefits of that until you actually do it.
right.
It sounds crazy because but when you just really be like, yeah, I'm just gonna serve people. I'm just gonna.
Well, the first benefit for me is that you keep your soul, and let's transition to this topic because I wanted. We talked about using a secular example.
Mhm.
I think the greatest benefit of serving God in before you serve people and serving people also,
Mhm.
but making that the standard is that you keep your soul, your mind, your heart, your strength, your drive in place. I think so many people have lost their spirit and their faint. They're almost like, the spirit is your life force. So when your spirit is sick or you've lost it, you might be living physically, but you've lost your life force.
Yeah,
You don't have that drive. You don't have that get back upness. You don't have that.
that's the word.
Yeah, I mean, that's life.
Yeah,
Life gonna knock you down, man,
yeah,
in some way or another.
yeah.
You don't have that continued. I'm an old athlete. I'm an ex-pro athlete. One of the things I know about being a successful athlete, you gotta always want to get better,
Yeah,
always,
yeah,
and that's life. You gotta always want to improve and go to the next level. So I think one of the benefits of doing that is that if you are a person pleaser, yeah, there are some benefits in a temporary sense that you may grant.
hmm,
But in the long run, you lose the substance of your life. And see, substance is important because when all hell break loose, when the fire comes, it's only the things that have substance that are going to last. That's why a lot of churches fail during the pandemic because you operating on a fake, substanceless religious paradigm. So when a pandemic comes, you tell everybody to go home when they really need you more than ever.
yeah.
So now that it's over, you want to come back, and they like, no, we're not coming back.
They done got used to doing something else.
Right. Because you didn't have no substance to what you were doing. But it's the same for your life. That's what Christ meant when he said, what does it profit you if you gain the world and lose your soul? You ain't got nothing on the inside. You hollow on the inside. So I say this about men. A lot of men let this world castrate them. I say this about black men. Black men were the only men that when they were persecuted were castrated that I know of.
Yeah,
Why? Because when you castrate a man, you take away his substance, you take away his soul. And we talked about this latest thing with
oh yeah. So with
was
Russell Wilson and Sierra, they was at the man, what it was
the
one of the
Grammys.
wasn't the Grammys.
It wasn't the Grammys.
Nah, it
Okay.
wasn't the Grammys. The Oscars just happened, but I don't think it was the Oscars. It was another.
Was it a sports
Nah,
thing?
nah, nah. It was another award show though. I mean, we could look it up, but it was another award show, and they was on the red carpet. Russell Wilson had his suit on, and Sierra had her birthday suit on. Pretty much. See, we're gonna in the post we'll put the picture up so y'all see it. But basically, she was almost naked. You could see it all, and
And this is his wife.
this is his wife. This is his wife.
And he didn't say nothing. And the look on his face looked like how he played last year. Like he didn't have no nuts. I hope I can say that.
You can say whatever you want
Yeah,
to say.
he played like he was testicleless. My adopted son is a I call him the broke back Broncos. He's a broke back Bronco fan, and you got a broke back quarterback, and that's why he couldn't play last year because you don't let your wife apparently because it would have been like, baby, we can't go like that unless you want me to put on a leather ding dong in testicle, and I walk out here dangling with a leather strap, a leather cover over my penis and my testicles, and then you walking out here with all your stuff hanging out. We both walk out here with all our stuff hanging out.
We just
Yeah,
out here,
it's
man.
just like you have men looking at you at your vagina and your behind and your breast, like wow, Sierra. Then they can look at me.
Because because I never understood that because a lot of men will do that and they like, but she with me.
Okay,
But
so if some fool happened to express the fact that your wife got a nice behind and her vagina looks nice and her breast get nice, what you gonna do then?
yeah,
What you gonna do then?
I mean, but that's another part of the protection. That's me telling my woman, I know how this is going to end. So baby, go change.
Right.
Because if something happens, I might have to fight somebody, not you.
And to me, it's disrespectful to him. Just like the example I gave. Let's say he come out no shirt.
Mm-hmm.
He ain't got on no shirt.
Mm-hmm.
He ain't got on no, and he got He's basically got a leather penis pouch and
He's like a
testicle
male
pouch.
stripper.
Yeah, like a male stripper, like my Magic Mike. And he's just walking on the runway, and your booty out. You got chaps on, and Russell Wilson, an athlete.
Yeah.
Yeah, Russell. Somebody told me Russell Wilson's short, but he. Somebody said they ain't seen very many men built as.
Mm-hmm.
But so you don't. So you wouldn't have a concern that other women looking at.
And he come out naked. Bronco country. Let's ride.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, with everything out. Yeah, man. So there's already a conversation happening that's been happening for some years because you know that um he pretty much is raising her child with Future, the rapper. So people were saying it was like another conversation that was happening about how she can't truly respect him because the kind of men that she's used to dealing with are like cooler and he's more of a nerd. And this was the conversation that's been had for some years now. It's like she's with him because it's like a come up because the guys she's been dealing with have kind of like not wanted to commit to her in that same way, and she found somebody who's willing to do it. So now she can.
Look, I believe in being a gentleman. I believe in respecting women. I believe in covering women. I believe I don't I for me chivalry ain't dead. I don't always open my wife's door, but when we get along I do. you know, I'm not gonna throw my wife out in front. If it's a problem, I'm gonna be step back, babes. I got this.
Yeah.
I believe in that, so I'm not putting Russell Wilson down for that. But what I am saying is this: you need your nuts in this world. You need your nuts to play in the NFL. I'll give you another example. Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott during the Kaepernick kneeling thing
Uh-huh.
was told by Jerry Jones that anybody on the team that kneels is going to get kicked off the team. I'm okay with that. You the owner. You can say what you want.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm not okay with is when you ask me, you expect me to cower to that. Instead of just saying he the owner, he can say what he wants. I can make decisions for me for what I feel is right. Ever since Dak and Ezekiel done that, they ain't never been the same players. And you can't show me where they have. They have never been the same men on the field because you don't let people cut off your nuts. You don't let people take your manhood. I was a pro athlete. I played with that.
Mm-hmm.
Bravado. I played with a chip on my shoulder. You ain't better than me.
Yeah.
I don't care. I played with Canseco and McGuire. These big home run hitters. I was the MVP. I didn't hit home runs, but I stole 100 bases, and I out hit them. I hit 320, 330 because this is my mind. I don't care if you're 6'5", 220. I'm 5'9", 175.
Let's go.
That's right.
Yeah.
You gotta have that as an athlete. You gotta have that as a man. You can't lead these women today with your testicles look like two BBs. These dudes, this stuff, I don't care. Now you can call it toxic masculinity as you want. I'm not confused about who I am. I can put my hands in my pocket and tell you who I am. I know who I am. I know who God made me to be. And I don't care if it intimidates you. That's your problem.
Yeah.
But Russell Wilson, that's a mess, man. That to me, that's totally disrespecting him.
Oh yeah, I mean, people on the net had a lot to say about it. I seen it like in passing because I was running around. I just seen the outfit, and be a lot of different things going on. Celebrity, so I don't always know what's to get people to talk because a lot of times celebrities do things to get people to talk, but to me, that's not what you want people talking about.
No, and I'm just gonna be honest. Listen, this is what I believe. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. The proof is in the pudding. Biblically, the saying is this: a tree is known by its fruit, by what you produce. I know a peach tree because when I walk up to it, it's some big juicy peaches on it. Who did Russell Wilson do last year? He laid an egg.
It was bad last year. So the message we want you guys to take from this episode is that men, you need your nuts.
You need them.
You need your nuts. If you don't hear nothing else, just know that you need your nuts. You don't need nothing else but your nuts. You hear me? Episode
That's
one.
a good message.
That's a good message. Episode one in the books, man. Hey, we got one, man. Y'all, hey, we're gonna have a great time in here, man. This is Real Relationships, man. Lance Woods, AK Thrower.
Peace.
Y'all, yeah.